It's really hot. That sun's energy is really blaring down on us today. I have an idea. Let's harness the power of the sun today. I'm going to show you a really cool STEM activity that you can do with all kinds of household materials that you have. Let's do it. It's going to be awesome. And more importantly, the end result is going to be delicious. Time for a little TrippTastic Science on this hot sunny day. Let's go! TrippTastic Science Tidbit. So I don't know if you knew this, but the sun is kind of a big deal. It's the reason why we're able to exist on this planet. Earth exists in an area called the Goldilocks zone, meaning it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right. We're just close enough to the sun so that we don't turn into a giant fireball of lava and volcanoes like Venus, and we're not too far away, so we're super frozen and cold like Neptune. The sun is what heats our planet, and it also helps to keep our plant life, our animals alive. But on top of that, the sun is a giant star and is quite fascinating. Here's some more interesting facts about the sun. Fun fact. The sun, which is a star, is comprised mostly of hydrogen and some helium. The surface of the sun gets to somewhere just under 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's nothing compared to the estimates for the center of the sun, which is estimated to be around 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. Talk about hot. So as you can see, the sun is kind of a big deal. The centerpiece to our entire universe, a very important piece of our survival here on the planet Earth. So today we're going to be harnessing that power from the sun, and we're actually going to be making our very own solar ovens. We're going to use the light from the sun to create energy from the reflection of that light to cook and heat something inside this little homemade oven that we're going to make. And you only need a few objects from home in order to make this experiment. You are going to need to use scissors for this lab, so please make sure if you are using scissors or using a knife or using a sharp object to do so, that you have adult supervision to do so. So here are the materials that you're going to need for today. A box, tinfoil, plastic wrap, scissors, sturdy tape, couple of pencils, sunglasses, 'cause it's bright. And last but certainly not least, s'more stuff. Let's do this. Here's a pro tip for you. I highly recommend you put your chocolate bar in the freezer prior to using it, because my chocolate bar is already liquid. Now you can really use any box for this lab, but something that might be a little bit shorter to the ground works really great. I'll be fashioning this Mario box. And we're going to have to do a little construction to it in order to get it to where we need it to be. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to use your scissors, and you need to cut around the outside of the box. We want to be able to open up that top lid of our box. And there you have it. We have our opening of our box. Now, here's where things get really interesting. We need to be able to cut a little window right along the edge, leaving about, I'd say, an inch of space on the edge there. And remember, anytime you're using any sharp tool, you want to have adult supervision. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut that now. And there it is. We have our opening, and we have our little flappy lid that's going to be our reflection piece coming in here. So now it's time to prepare the inside of the oven. In order to make this a reflection oven, we need to have something that is reflective against the sun's light. That's where the tinfoil is going to come in handy. So what we're going to do is we're going to line the entire inside of this box with tinfoil. Let's do it. is so bright. It's reflecting already. Now you may or may not need to use some pieces of tape to seal along the edge here so that our tin foil doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape mine to keep this foil in place. Pro tip, only make it so that the tape is behind the tin foil. We don't want it on the other side, otherwise the adhesive stuff is going to get all ooey gooey while we're cooking our s'more. So make sure that that tape is protected and covered by the tin foil. Next, we need that tin foil to reflect off of something and reflect onto our food that we're going to place right in the middle here. So we're going to tin foil this top flappy-doo here on our box as well. Boom. Just like that. We have our reflector top. We have the inside of our oven made. Now we need to make sure that that heat is going to stay inside of our oven, because in order for things to cook, the heat needs to stay trapped inside of something. So we're going to take our saran wrap, our plastic wrap, and we're going to put it over the top of this opening here on this flap. You will need to use some tape in order to keep the saran wrap on there. You're going to want to make sure this is as airtight as it possibly can be. So I'm going to have the saran wrap overlap here on the tinfoil, and I'm going to tape along this line here so that my heat stays inside my oven. Now that I'm saran wrapped in, that heat is going to stay trapped inside of my oven, and that's what's going to help and assist in cooking my s'more. So now I think I'm ready to get my s'more materials. Don't worry. Remember that time I said that you're going to need pencils? You're going to need those to prop up your oven lid in order to get the right amount of reflection. Because watch, when I adjust this, you can see that that reflection of the light is hitting it a little bit differently depending upon where I bend that rim. And it's going to kind of depend upon where the sun is as well. We want optimum heat kind of hitting right in the middle of our oven if it's going to cook up our s'more for us. And of course, literally the minute I'm about to cook my s'more, a cloud comes. Get out the way! All right, I have my s'more in place, and in order to guarantee that my heat is going to stay inside there and actually cook my s'more and melt my chocolate, I'm going to add a small piece of tape around the outside of my box, because right there, heat is going to escape out of here, so I don't want that to happen. So when I get my oven set up here, I'm going to tape just a little bit around the edges, loose enough so that I can still open the box when my s'more is ready, but tight enough so that heat isn't going to escape out of my box. My s'more pieces are in place. I'm going to move my reflector edge so that I can see that reflection right on my s'more stuff. I'm going to get my pencil, and I can use that as a prop to get my solar oven exactly where I need to be. You might need your second pencil, you might not. I don't need my second pencil with the size of my box and how heavy the lid is. And so now, I'm going to adjust, make sure that we're in the, there we go. Optimum melting zone. And now, we wait. Still waiting. But I think my chocolate may be getting melty on the edge there. So I'm keeping track of the temperature inside of my oven at this point. I don't know if you can see that. The temperature is climbing, which means my solar oven is airtight. That heat is continuing to increase inside there, just like your oven in your kitchen. And I'm just going to wait. I'm going to see my marshmallows getting nice and mushy looking. My chocolate is starting to mush up. You may choose to preheat your oven, meaning you let it get a little bit warmer while you wait to get your s'more in there, just so that your chocolate doesn't get too mushy and that your marshmallow gets to the right mushiness temperature. But you can see I've made it just about 130 degrees inside of my solar oven. Here's another pro tip for you. Put your marshmallow in before you put your chocolate in, because your marshmallow is going to take longer to melt than your chocolate is. Not so melty, extra melty. I've got my oven over 140 degrees, just harnessing the power of the sun. You know what time it is? It's s'more time. Kind of up to you when you think your marshmallow is ready to eat or not. This looks pretty delicious to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy my delicious melty s'more. And there you have it. That's all. Really, really good. That is how you make a s'more, harnessing the power of the sun. I hope you enjoyed this TrippTastic Science Tidbit down STEM Avenue. And as always, keep on sciencing. It's delicious. TrippTastic Science Tidbit.